so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. And after years of exploring the awe-inspiring truth of the ultimate nature of reality on the show, I'm super excited to announce that we are now casting a wider net with the new late-night style consciousness elevating talk show called Optimistic, which is going to feature none other than you, the listeners. Once your own awakening has begun to bloom and you realize that everyone is an extension of you and that everywhere you go, you're there waiting for yourself, you quickly realize the only game in town is to help wake up our sleeping brothers and sisters. And that is exactly what Optimistic is designed to do. To take this show from reaching thousands of people every day to a next level video production that can ultimately reach millions. So if you've already felt the call to etch your name in eternity as a soul who played an important role in propelling the wave of awakening that's just really beginning to sweep our planet at this crucial time in the evolution of our planet, I'm asking you to answer the call to join me in co-creating Optimistic. There are multiple exciting ways you can co-create this experience with me and the rest of the Optimistic family that are all outlined on our new webpage, optimistic.tv. Check it out, choose the option that is in the highest alignment with you, and together we can propel a wave of awakening that will create a positive ripple of impact that reverberates in our lives and the lives of others, which will ultimately help deliver the world into the heaven on earth planet of paradise it's destined to become. Get in the game, folks, and please join me at optimistic.tv. So you have your own hero's tale to tell yours or someone's great-grandchildren about one day. Also, before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to take about a minute and a half to tell you about a few sponsors that not only help to make it possible to produce this show 5 days a week, but that I'm also genuinely passionate about promoting. The first longtime stellar supporter of the show that I want to mention is Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online with over 8,000 video titles. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. The second sponsor I'm sincerely passionate about promoting is Purium. It's no mystery that bringing your mind, body, and spirit into balance is necessary if a person truly intends to manifest the greatest and grandest version of themselves. So if you've been looking for a way to easily get organic superfoods into your system every day with a simple plan that can help you reestablish a healthier foundation and relationship with food, like I was doing before I found Purium, I highly recommend going to positivehead.com/transformation and checking out the videos and interviews there where I dive deeply into discussions explaining why I take these products every day. And should you ultimately end up on iShopPurium.com to purchase any of their 50 plus amazing superfood products, be sure to use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, for a 25% discount. All right, all you positive heads. On this week's Soul Share, I'm very excited to have Ora B. Nance, a.k.a. Ora Aaru, with me on the show.
Hi, y'all.
Ora's actually here in the studio, which doesn't always happen, as you guys know, and is a metaphysical minister, an energy balancing healer, and super blessed and excited to have you here. Ora, thank you for showing up.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful to be here and to be able to share some good news.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Yeah. Ora's got the good news, everybody.
Sit back, get ready.
All right, so I'm going to start off with the same predictable opening question I always like to ask. And it is this. You're in an elevator. The woman next to you looks over, says, "What's your passion?" You have 10 floors to answer. What do you say?
My greatest passion in the world is to help people find the God in them, and then to exercise that God in everything they think, say, and do, primarily in the world of their healing.
That sounds like a pretty good passion.
How's that?
I like it. I think you and I are going to get along just fine.
Here we go.
So let's get a little bit, if you would, give us some insight into your backstory. I know we talked about it just a little bit before recording, and there's a lot of interesting things going on there. So we love a good story here on the show, and I would love to hear what yours is.
Well, I would love to share some things about my past that I think will help people to be a little bit more patient with their own process and their path, and that it may have some interesting twists and turns. It's more of a circle than a straight line.
Well, of course.
So, the first thing I'd love to share with is that I started in the world of healing in 1986.
Wow, you've been at it a minute.
Yes, I've been at it a minute in different ways, and I was very much, and still I am this person. I am teachable. I love learning new ideas and concepts, integrating them with what I have, or throwing away something to make more room for the new idea. So what started me, which was the basic understanding of hands-on healing, which I actually could do when I was 12. I would try when I was a little kid to reanimate my sister's parakeets.
Oh, wow.
All the time, and trying to do all this kind of creating things, planting, all of that. That was who I was, making mud pies and wanting them to have energy. So I put my hands on them.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was doing.
Wow.
But somehow...
Most kids aren't trying to activate their mud pies, typically.
Yeah, that's usually not the case. So I think the purpose was peeking out right there.
Right.
So I moved from that, and I started to focus more on acting, because it was still about giving. That's the thing that I understand about my whole life. It's been about wanting to give, wanting to service, wanting to give love and whatever someone needs to feel better. So I went into acting and writing and singing. And I did that for a very long time, and I'm very grateful for that part of my life. It's made me a person who is completely unafraid in most circumstances and ready to give my truth. But I wasn't doing as much of the healing work until after a very powerful experience in my life where I was in New York during 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Everything changed after that, and my focus and desire to want to help changed.
Wow.
I would go on a bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, I would love to hear details of that.
Okay, so that day was very interesting because I had decided the week prior that I was going to start taking an artist day. I was reading Julia Cameron's work at the time, The Artist Way.
Okay.
And I was loving the idea of having a day that I would direct specifically at my art.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I really think I had been doing it in Chicago, but I started doing it in New York as well. And so that day I had planned to go to the art museum. And I had a pad, I had my little packet all ready for the next day, and I was going to let myself sleep in a little bit late and then head out. At the time, I was living in Jersey City in a little tiny renovated convent. And,
wow.
Which is a whole other talk show that we can hit some other time. But anyway, I had decided to sleep late, and there was a knock at my door. The knock at the door was my landlord, and she wanted to know if I was okay. I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why are you asking?" "Oh, never mind," she said. "Don't worry about it. Just go back to sleep." And my little tiny head would not let me go back to sleep after that.
What's going on?
And I realized that she was calling me because normally I would have seen her. We would have had a cup of coffee sitting in the cafeteria for a little while. But I wasn't there. And I thought, something's going on. And the next thing I heard in my mind was turn the TV on. I turned the TV on and the second plane is going into the building.
Oh, wow.
And I took a deep breath, and with it a pile of tears came out of my head, and I just got dressed as fast as I could, and I spent the whole rest of the day mostly sitting on the porch. I didn't even know why until I realized that they had been chartering some of the people who had been in 9/11 across the Hudson to Jersey City, and that the VAC area was not too far from where I was living.
Gotcha.
So I got to see all of these people coming off of these boats and sending the energy and sending the love and not knowing completely all that had gone on at that point.
Right.
Just knowing that my first reflex was to give them as much as I could.
Right.
That stayed in me, and it stayed strong. And when I came back to Los Angeles, and then moved to Chicago, it became my duty to become a student and learn energy balancing and Reiki and sound and everything that I could learn, and metaphysical principles that I practice now and teach other people as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. What a powerful trigger to sort of ignite, for you. It's that day. I think it's one of those days where almost anyone you ask remembers exactly where they were and what they were doing. And it was just like such a pivotal moment energetically. I don't know if you've ever heard it. Like, they say like what do they call it? Is it the Schumann resonance or where the energetics of the planet, they actually could tell. I think that's what I may be saying the wrong thing, referencing the wrong thing. But yeah, they could date right before it happened or when it happened. Right. It spiked like crazy. Exactly.
Yes. I had some information around that as well. I was doing some research and they were saying how it had spiked the recordings that they had been doing after Princess Diana's passing.
Right.
That spawned that work at that time. And they did it for 9/11, and there's an arch that starts before.
The magnetic field just went crazy.
Yes, it absolutely did. And you could feel it in New York.
Yeah.
And you could feel it after it as well. The energy was so heavy and tense that I literally could not breathe there after a while. I had to go.
Wow.
And that's what made me go on my journey, which was the next 15 years of study and play and sharing of the healing energy. And that's when the Wellness Coalitional started. And I became the CEO of the Wellness Coalitional. And our mission is to teach and empower people on their inner power to heal their bodies with or without techniques. And to work with the Western medicine as well. When they want to work with us, we want to be there to work with them.
Sure.
And find the balance for each individual, finding the balance to how they want to handle their physical, emotional care. Physical, energetic care.
Right. So, can you go into a little more detail of what the coalition that you've started essentially does, and maybe just expand on that a little bit?
I'll tell you our most fun project.
Oh, okay. Twist my arm. Give me the fun one.
Gotta give you the fun one. Traveling clinic pop-ups.
Ooh.
We do them everywhere.
Pop-ups are like all the rage right now, too.
Pop-ups are popping up.
Yep.
And so we do a pop-up, and we've done them in Los Angeles, we've done them in Atlanta, and Louisiana.
Cool.
We've also done them in Chicago, and we hope to come back and do them in those places and more.
Yeah.
What we basically do is offer a menu of services, of energetic services that folks can try for a shorter period of time for a lesser amount of money.
Gotcha.
Some stuff is free, some stuff is very low cost because we want them to have the experience of it and see if it's something that they can benefit from.
Right.
That's one side of it. The other side is something that we call Sekhmet sessions. And they're like, I call them the metaphysical version of TED Talks.
I love it.
Basically what happens is that we have professionals and experts in their fields of energetic medicine or a particular bioproduct that can work and help people that's not expensive, but is extremely helpful for keeping their frequencies, because we do a lot of energy frequency work as well, in balance. We also talk about things as simple as acupuncture. We had a wonderful woman who came on by the name of Ellen Locker. Yes, I love you, Ellen. And she came in and did a beautiful presentation on acupuncture and acupressure and showed them how to do acupressure on themselves to relieve pain and stress.
Wow.
So we throw in that as well as products and other services that people can get. And for 3 to 4 hours, anybody from anywhere can come in.
Wow.
We'll take you on and help you.
How long have you been doing that?
10 years.
Wow.
10 beautiful years this year. Yay!
Wow, congratulations. That's super cool.
So the next thing is to do more of those, but in more intense places. We're looking to work in the penitentiaries if we can.
Wow.
At more with hospitals as well. We want to get to the people that we don't always think about.
Yeah.
Who could use energy medicine.
Who might need it the most.
Might need it the most. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's quite interesting. So let's talk a little bit about some of the specialties that you have in helping people to sort of step into the next greatest and greatest version of themselves, if you will.
Absolutely.
And I know one of the things that you and I talked about briefly that, I haven't gotten the full download on, but I'd like to, save it for when the recording's running.
Okay.
The steps to creating a miracle. That's something that you cover and teach and help people to realize it. And I love the whole idea of, miracles in general and understanding, like, for me, my own perspective on them is like, the more you believe that miracles are, expect a miracle, the more you're going to have a miracle.
That's exactly right. I believe that intention works like a beacon. And that when you have clear intention for something to occur in your life and you've released all resistance to it coming, it can't help but find you.
Right.
It will literally chase you down.
Right.
You're good.
Yeah.
And I believe that the primary key is something that you actually touch on in your intro often about finding the God in you. The key, I believe, is finding that spark. And one day in meditation, which I totally do every day, and I suggest that everyone try a little bit of it, and I teach several different versions of meditation as well. It's very important to have that connection to something outside of yourself for clarity and strength that is also inside of you.
Right.
So in this meditation, I was meditating on simply the word God. And as I was meditating on it, it began to move in my inner vision.
Wow.
And it moved until the letters stacked on top of one another. And right after they did that, next to the G, I saw gene. The O was of. And the D became divinity.
Ooh.
God. Gene of divinity.
Yeah, wow.
We all have that gene in us. When we recognize that we have that spark in us that runs through us and runs through everything in the universe. I don't care if we're talking plants, people, or a principality.
Or pebbles.
Or pebbles.
Plants, people, or pebbles.
That's right. Or pebbles. We are talking about a spark that is beautiful and connects us all. It's part of what I personally believe is what is meant by entanglement. Okay? That's what that feels like. So, taking that idea, I started to think about how miracles happen and what we all think about miracles. We have a lot of stuff in our heads around miracles. We make them small or big. We make them important over a miracle. We stack our miracles in levels of importance.
We even make them into like a fake mayonnaise.
That ends up whipping you more than it whips, more than you whip it. Sorry, guys.
We had to do it. They're used to my bad jokes.
So I decided that I was wanting to move into this process that I call living your 5D life. We're moving out of 3D, folks. If you have any real attachments there, you need to work with that.
The shift is on.
The shift is on and up and flying. So we all need to get on top of it. And how I believe the best way to get on top of it is the first step is recognizing your divinity. That's the first step. I am that I am. That once you recognize that is whatever you put in there, then your world opens up in such a major way. The second step is a really humbling one, I think, and an extremely intimate one. You have to be willing to look at what it is that's keeping you from it. Where is your resistance to something moving into your life?
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to split two to A and B.
All right.
You do have to do that step, but even before that, picture or image in your mind what it is you want. Just one thing. What you desire, God desires for you.
Right.
When you look at the basic word desire, it means of the Father. So what you want, the whole universe wants for you. There is nothing against your desire.
Right.
But your resistance.
Right.
So the next step, A-B, is looking at that resistance.
Yeah.
Calling it up. You don't have to get all heavy with it, but just recognize what it is for you. I'm not going to make you write it down and do mea culpas or any of that kind of stuff. I don't suggest that. Just look at it.
Be aware.
And be aware, and then allow your mind to see all the ways in which it's been working in your world. Once you do that, you are ready to gather all of that up and get rid of it. One of the things that we do is take you through a meditation to help you with release. The meditation changes and shifts. Excuse me. But the primary issue is to change that, to see that resistance as tar, as something that you don't have any use for. Most of us can't think of one reason to have tar in our lives.
Right.
And then in your imagery, you're turning it to gold. Once you
transmuting it.
Yes, transmuting it. This is where the alchemy begins. In allowing yourself to change something that you saw as a challenge, turning it into the triumphant thing. So let's just pick something for fun.
Okay.
Just for fun. Let's say you got something that comes to your mind?
Of something that I would want to transmute myself.
Something you desire.
Okay.
A thing you desire.
Okay.
Well, it can be simple.
Okay. Super simple, or more of a like what I want for as food, or what I want in as far as a dream coming true kind of thing.
Ooh, we can do food.
Oh, okay.
Let's do food.
All right.
Okay. What do you desire most?
What's my favorite food?
Yeah. What do you really just like
man.
love?
What do I love?
Let's see if this works with food, guys. This will be fun.
How about I'll take some guacamole.
Okie dokie. Holy guacamole.
Holy guacamole.
So, you know, as a divine being, you are already connected to it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
You know the avocado. You love the avocado and you send it love. So now you're ready to receive it. But what would be the most resistant thing to you having it right now? Right now.
Beating the drum about not having it, drawing all the attention to the fact that it's not here.
We go right to thank you. Don't we do that all day? We go to all of the reasons why we don't have it instead of saying
like
yes.
There's no Mexican restaurant within arm's reach of this microphone at the moment.
Right, exactly. It's going to take time.
I need to go to the store if I'm going to make it myself.
Exactly. That means going to get several other ingredients, and we have the list of things that stand in the way. That's a perfect. It reminds me of a story in the Bible about the gentleman who was crippled and sitting next to the river called Beautiful. And he had been there for forever. And Jesus comes walking up and says, "Do you want to be healed?" The man tells Jesus his entire story. I've been here for 30 years. Everybody gets in my way. They knock me to the side. I never get it to go into the water. Ba, 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 ba. And Jesus just goes, "Do you want to be healed?"
Yeah.
We have to focus our minds to what it is we want, not what we don't want and what gets in the way. Because we're about to burst through that. It doesn't matter. So focus on what the guacamole and exactly how you want it.
You know what's great about that? It makes me think of, and listeners have probably heard me say it before. I reference it quite often. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but with race car drivers, they teach them when you're going around the track. One of the things that they teach them is if you start to spin out, the number one thing they teach you not to do.
What?
You do not look at the wall. You know why?
You
hit it every time if you look at the wall.
That is.
Isn't it a great example?
Yes, that's a perfect example. Yep. You guys, you got two good ones to keep you steered off, excuse the pun. Doing that to yourself. Keep your eye on the guacamole, which is the prize.
Yes, exactly.
So then you start, the next step is to create. What I have my students do is create a sigil. I'm just going to shorten this.
Okay. Now, you maybe want to explain. Some people may not know what a sigil is.
Right. And so let's explain what a sigil is. A sigil is a picture made out of words in the way that I do it. That comes from an affirmation that you create. And then after creating the affirmation, you release vowels and consonants, vowels out of it, repetitive consonants. So if you have 3 S's, you're going to bring that down to 1. And then you take what's left, whatever's left, 3 letters, 12 letters, and you're going to create a design for your mind out of it. Let go of the I can't draw stuff. Has nothing to do with it.
Right.
You can draw fine for this exercise. Okay?
Can't get it wrong.
You cannot get this wrong. So just put it all together and give yourself permission to make some crazy piece of art that you've drawn from it. I know people who have taken this exercise and created tattoos that they have put onto themselves to remember like core ideas that they want. What you're doing 2 things at once when you create the sigil. You are shifting the subconscious mind into the positive idea of it. And you're giving yourself an appealing visual while you're actually playing a little game with yourself, getting yourself off the idea of I can'ts into simply playing.
Right.
Get your coloring, get your crayons out, get your markers, have fun with this, and then create the sigil.
Right.
that sigil is going to be something that you're going to keep around with you to remember, because your subconscious mind is going to always remember what the original affirmation said. You may not remember it in the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind remembers it and takes it straight to your super consciousness, which is where you want to be coming from in the first place. That's where your G-O-D is. It's in your super consciousness. So through meditation, you get the opportunity to expand and connect and communicate with your higher knowing in that subconscious mind. You just sent it a beautiful love note. Isn't that awesome?
I like that. I like the way you put that.
You got a nice little love note there.
Send love notes.
Yes, and send love notes to your super consciousness all the time.
Right.
That's the beauty of this process. You can do it anytime you want to, on any subject you want to make it occur. I've done it in 5 minutes. I've taken 2 hours to do it. It depends on what the idea is that you want.
Right.
So now you have a sigil. Maybe it's made from the affirmation of, I really love guacamole and I want it now. Or I would love to just dive head first into a vat of guacamole right now. Whatever it is. So you break it on down, you get your sigil, and you focus your mind on your sigil. And you move into the next part. The next part is 4 and 5, because you need to find music that moves you. This is where sound comes in. We are sound. That's number 1. There's no doubt about it.
Universe. One song.
One song with many, 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 many harmonics in it. And we are a part of those harmonics. Enjoy this concert. It goes on for a while.
Yes, it does.
So tone is important in this, tone/frequency, because what you're wanting to do is move yourself into a visceral state where when you look at that sigil, it starts making you feel all goosebumpily, all up and positive. You get to that state of it and you find the music that brings that up for you. For me, I'll share my secret. There's 2. You guys ready for this?
Share them all.
The first one is Parliament Flashlight.
Yes. So
I put that on and you cannot not move.
Right.
You must move when that comes on. And you get the feeling that through your visceral body.
Right.
The second one for me is Jill Scott, Living My Life Like It's Golden. And when she says that, I'm taking my life and taking it off the shelf. Yes, that's what you need to do with your life.
Yes. Because
when you take your life off the shelf, that means you have decided to be in charge of your life.
Right.
That you are the most important.
Right.
And when you say, I'm going to live it golden, that means radiant love flows through you 24/7, all day, all night, every day of the week.
Right.
And so while you're doing that, you move to 5. So you found your music. You know it's going to move you on that visceral level. And now the last step. You ready?
Ready.
Dance, baby. That's the last step.
I love it.
Get up. Put that music on. Hold the sigil if you need to in front of you. Put it on your heart if that would help you to do that. Put it in your shoes while you're dancing. Whatever you need to do. But put that sigil on you and do that dance. Because what you're going to do is move your chemicals. Now we're making this whole shift into the physical by moving your chemicals. Chemicalization is happening through the idea and the thought that you just put into your being. And when people and individuals like Abraham Hicks talks about just 17 seconds of absolute joy and bliss on the idea,
it's like hours and hours and hours and hours of work.
You've blown that away.
Yep.
But one song and these steps.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Have fun. We want to hear back.
Yeah.
If we can hear about it, I'd love to hear
Yes.
if some people try it and see if it works for them.
Yeah, I love that because music really is, there's nothing that gets me more in that heightened emotional state than music, you know? It just sets the tone, and it can take you on such a journey.
A powerful journey.
Such a powerful journey.
And sometimes it can take you on a journey. That's actually because I've come from a musical family. Mm-hmm. Everyone sings. When I was a kid, we used to sing together and do harmonies. Sound has always been extremely effective on me. When I was doing that time period of study, that's when the sound came in. And I made a decision. I wanted to study Willem Rife, and his whole process. I found the solfeggio tones, the sacred scale, and I began to work with them and tuning forks to understand how sound affects the body. Now, not Freud. This is an Einstein day. Einstein said that we are frequency. And when we match the frequency of a thing, then we can have it. Nothing can stop us. Wonderful thing to say. And it's true. And I discovered that by studying Rife and the work that he did healing cancer victims in the 1940s. Can I tell you a story about that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Some of your audience might know a bit about Rife. He was an engineer with a great passion about the medical world as well. He created a microscope that to this day is still baffling people with its ability to see cells. He took that microscope, and as he was working with it, he started to work with sound, and he came up with this idea of thinking of cancer like a bacteria, like a cold. And he thought that it was possible to find the tone or frequency of cancer specifically, that if he could find that, then he could diminish it and not affect the surrounding cells.
Interesting.
Much research, I won't bother the audience with all of that, went on to a final conclusion that he found comfortable enough to move from research to a trial study. 16 people from multiple doctors agreed to go under this treatment. And the treatment was very simple. Only a few minutes every week were they to listen to the tones that he had come up with. And every single one of them was relieved of their cancer.
Wow.
Only one of them took a little while longer, and he had to make an adjustment in the tone.
Wow.
But as soon as he figured it out, boom, that person was done and well as well.
So, wow. I feel like I've heard his name, but I don't know if I've ever heard that story. So
he created a machine, the Rife machine, that has 700 tones on it, and there is a website. I don't have it right now, but people can find out more about Rife, R-I-F-E.
And how come people aren't using that process now, really, regularly? I mean, or are they?
Well, the FCC and others, not necessarily FCC, but no, not FCC. That's the wrong one. Anyway, that's radio.
Yeah, right.
They don't care.
I mean, it's sound, right?
Other organizations and associations.
Yeah, did he get squashed? Is that a success?
Yes, basically weren't happy. A lot of his work disappeared. His laboratory was raided multiple times.
Surprise face.
His students saved the day by taking copious notes, and so much of it was redone by Dr. Hula Clark and others who studied with him, and the materials were found. So it is available, but it is not okay to use the machine. However, the work of sound to offer as a gift to individuals is quite fine. In terms of his Rife machine. At this time, it is not okay to use the machine legally.
Interesting. Like, you can't just use it. I can't say I want to use this thing, or are they being produced? Is there just one?
They are being produced. There are some that are produced, yes, and through the Rife website, you can find out more information.
Interesting.
About that. And I, for personal use, I do suggest you go and check that out, because it's a wonderful device, and I have seen it. I've worked with it, and it works. The solfeggio scale is the second one, and that is a sacred scale that really we're not exactly sure of when it began. I have my own theory about its ancientness, but what people lean on is the Benedictine monks and others who began to use them through their chants to help heal people.
Great.
Since all of that started, both of those forms of frequency have been taken through the Pythagoras theory and expanded from the 6 tones that originated solfeggio. We have now multiple tones that go from 174, which is for pain, all the way to infinity, that do things like clear your glands, clear your organs and systems like the endocrine system, circulatory system, etc. And I use those often in my practice with people. That's primarily the sound stuff, is the solfeggio tones, because I've found them to be very powerful in their use for balancing energetically balancing the energy of a chakra, a gland, an organ, or any of those things, any combination.
Have you ever heard of this place in Florida, the Coral Castle?
No.
So it was like, I want to say it was back in the 1920s. The guy's name, I have it pulled up here and I don't see the name, but this guy supposedly, I watched a whole documentary on it. This guy supposedly, I'm sure you've heard the ideas and concept before of using sound to move heavy objects and things like that. Well, so this place, here you can see pictures of it. This was one guy, frail little guy in the 20s, who built all of this out of these massive stones, and he would only work on it at night. And they claim, or he claimed even, that he was using sound to actually do it, and he would never let anyone see him work, and there was like no way this like little frail guy could. I mean, if you guys haven't,
this is very interesting, because you know what, I didn't know the name of the place, but I've heard about the guy, and he used obelisk. I understood crystal obelisk that he made sound, resound, and then move heavy objects. This is fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys ever look it up, it's like it's pretty epic, the scale of what this guy built.
Coral Castle.
Coral Castle, and it's in Florida of all places. Kind of obscure, but
awesome.
A lot of people, no one knows exactly what he did because he wouldn't let you. I think I saw a documentary on it not too long ago. An older documentary, and someone claimed to sneak in and actually observe him doing it. But he would not allow anyone to
many people believe that is exactly how the pyramids were created. It was through sound and toning frequencies that lift up the weights.
Right.
So I believe that. I believe that that's not impossible. I believe anything is possible.
Right. And that's kind of how I approach all of it. It's like, I know that reality is stranger than fiction, and there is a lot going on that I don't know about, and of course we hear a lot of strange and interesting ideas and theories of what is or isn't happening, or I always approach all of it that way. It's like, hey, I'm just open,
That's right.
I think any of it's possible, and I can't speak definitively what happened there because I wasn't there, like the Coral Castle, for example, but
But it sounds like a really good case for alchemy.
Yeah.
the
Right.
use of alchemy to connect with the stone in such a manner that I am you, you are I.
Yes,
I,
right.
I am that I am.
Right,
Let us
right.
rise.
Right.
So I just got goosebumps when I said.
Yeah, making that energetic connection. It's like, have you seen, I've been seeing this magic trick quite a bit lately, or I don't know if it's a trick. I don't think it is, because I've seen it even happen like in front of me in a live demonstration where they take two people and they say, okay, I'm entangling you two, stare at each other, and then both of you separate, close your eyes, and then the person leading the experiment, the trick, whatever's going on, will tickle one of them's nose, and then or touch one's forehead, and then say, okay, raise your hand if your forehead was touched, and the one that was not touched would raise their hand too. And every time, okay, raise your hand if your finger was pulled, and then they'd raise their hand, and he's like, oh, well, he did it to one, but he didn't do it to the other, and the one with they both have their eyes closed, and people, it's just like shocking.
It's powerful, and that is when I believe that entanglement alchemy is occurring.
Yeah,
that makes us, the God in me acknowledges the God in you, and that moment, that's amazing. I love that story.
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch of times. I saw it on a talent show recently. I saw some other big magician, not David Blaine. I want to say maybe Darren Brown. I don't know. Someone do it, and then I saw someone do it at a party like not too long ago. I mean, right in front of me.
Well, I think picture a moment. See the moment again. This time, see light like taffy around the two people. Just moving and swirling around them. And with the intention being set by what that individual was saying, I'm assuming the magician.
Yep.
By his words of saying, I'm connecting you two.
Abracadabra, as he speaks, he creates.
As he speaks, he creates.
Yeah.
This is the example of that. And so when they move apart from one another, that taffy has now connected.
Yeah.
And so now
I like
energetically, energy taffy, you guys. That connects us all, and our intention to connect is all we need to do. And as well as when we intend to disconnect, we really, and this goes into like a lot of people in love experiences think they need to go through so much. And sometimes you do, but just remember the taffy. And work on the releasing of the taffy. It doesn't have to be always a very painful experience. It can be a soft, gentle releasing that causes no pain or ill to either. So I teach people how to cut cords in that way, to release them in a way that doesn't bring pain, brings a lot of love, and is permanent.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the visualization of taffy and how it stretches like that until it gets so thin and then it just like breaks. That's a really good one. That's a really Use it. So one of the things that you talk about doing is helping people to figure out sort of their own. I know you talked a little bit ago about like giving yourself acupressure or, but building your own personal healing kit.
Yes.
Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Of course. What we attempt to offer are multiple pieces that are holistic in the way that they are used. So, for instance, one of the things that we teach is muscle testing. We teach muscle testing in one day. And with that, you have the ability to energetically test against your body whether a food,
kinesiology, right?
or a vitamin is good for you, or a situation to walk into. You can do muscle testing to
Maybe you can explain what it is for people who aren't familiar.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Muscle testing comes from kinesiology. It's one of the branches of kinesiology. And there's large muscle testing, which chiropractors, if you've gone to a chiropractor, you've probably experienced large muscle group testing. Small muscles are more of what we are working with when we're talking about muscle testing. There are multiple ways in which to do it, but the traditional way that most people experience muscle testing first is to stand up, put their most predominant, strongest arm out.
Straight out in front of you.
Straight out in front of you, perpendicular to the floor, and the facilitator is going to ask a question of your body. The primary issue or intention with muscle testing is to create a common language between you and your body so you can ask questions in a yes or no fashion and get answers around the things that you need to understand and know. We always start with food, vitamins, in muscle testing, glands and organs and chakras to test weakness. You can go lots deeper with muscle testing, but with what we offer through the Wellness Coalitional, it's about the body. So you got your perpendicular hand out, and the facilitator comes over to test your weakness. They're going to ask you to take that other hand and put it on top of your head, palm down. When you're putting it palm down, they're going to test it. If it comes up strong, then you're good. Then they're going to check it again and have you flip it over. The whole idea is that you are a battery. We're going for positive and negative connections. Negative to positive works, correct? Positive to positive doesn't. And the flip of your hand makes the difference. Your palm is positive, the back of your hand, the palm is negative, the back of your hand is positive. So you test both sides and they push down on your wrist or arm. When they say the word resist, you attempt to push up while they're pushing down, and you will get a reading. It will work no matter what. I promise you. And there's ways to help you if you're feeling a little, like your biorhythms aren't working too well on that day, you're feeling a little weak. There's little things that we can do, like letting you hold chlorophyll will give you strength. Letting you hold bee pollen, B complex or B pollen will help you to get strong as well. And so we teach you how to test yourself to make sure you're adjusted, okay? And then how to go different ways to go about your day, testing yourself as things go along. You go to a grocery store. You want to get some food and you're trying to decide between the bananas and the strawberries and what your body needs. So you take, while no one's watching, you take
yeah, exactly.
You take the banana.
Who's this? Someone is bananas in the banana aisle.
That's right. And you put them under your armpit or on your chest. Okay? And you're going to do the sway one if you put it on your chest. You're going to stand up straight. You're going to put them right above your heart. And you're going to say, these are great for me and they're going to make me feel so good. Feet together. Take a deep breath and just allow your body to sway. It's going to either go very quickly forward or backward. The forward is the yes, the backward is the no.
Never heard it that way.
Yes, there's I teach 8 ways within the class of how to test your muscles.
It's a way. That's a way to test yourself if you don't have someone else to push your arm down.
Right. If your arm gets tired or you don't want anybody pushing your arm for a lot of different reasons, then you can do a swaying motion. I can show you another one that you just use one hand. I can show you one you can do while meetings are going on and you want to know if the energy is correct in the room for what you want to do. Just along your thigh, running your fingers along it. I can show you how to do that. So we teach muscle testing. We teach basic maintenance on the energetic level by teaching EFT, AFT, and sharing a little bit about a couple of different meridian touch therapy kinds of processes. We actually call it integrated meridian touch, where we teach 4 different ways of touching the meridians, tapping them in different ways in order to affect either pain relief, stress relief, cold symptoms going down, your blood pressure, and diabetes. We've energetically helped to affect them. So we want to teach you how to give yourself immediate maintenance. Those are the basic things the kinds of things we'll put in that tool bag. When you're really into it, then we take you to Sekum Reiki.
And that's actually what you did a session for me on before we started recording. And I'd never heard of Sekum Reiki until now. I mean, I've heard of Reiki, but I'm not familiar. What's the basic difference?
There's tons of different Reiki that are out there these days, and Sekum Reiki has its origin in Egypt, ancient Egypt.
Gotcha.
Philosophy. Sekum means all love power, and it is connected to the deity Sekhmet, Mother Sekhmet, which is all about power. And power. So we teach that modality at the same time we're teaching you traditional Usui Reiki. So Reiki power is rainbow energy. Reiki is white light energy. Together, working in the body creates a powerful, invasive, energetic system that touches glands, organs, chakras, and addictions. I have had the blessing of experiences with clients who have come in addicted to things, and after we worked together on a series of sessions, they were able to release it, able to reconnect on it, able to see it. For some of them, it wasn't even at the point where they could see it. It was wonderful the day that after 3 sessions, this one particular person said to me, I decided that I'm going to go into AA.
Wow.
I was like, wow, I've decided I'm going to go into rehab. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
But it came from inside out.
Right.
The idea, the Sekum Reiki just puts you into the state of betterment for yourself.
Right.
So you start to see where you want betterment in your life.
Right.
That's what it does. On top of it, it can make your body really warm while I'm doing it.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely noticed your hands feeling very warm, just being close.
Yeah.
Like a lot of energy was obviously.
I warn people that sometimes, let me know if my hands are too hot for you, because then I can make it even more distant. Right. But I want to get in there and get things moving.
Yeah. Well, I felt like I'd been on a deep, long nap almost afterwards. I felt very energized and refreshed, and
that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it was so good.
Thank you very much. That's the intention with the Sekum Reiki, is for you to come up from the session feeling relaxed, blissed out, and relief from pain, stress, or anything that's bothering your muscles. Especially, we try to get all of that tension worked out.
Right.
So I'm glad to hear that you felt really good.
I felt very energized and very, very, like I said, it wasn't, it was maybe 30 minutes or so, but it felt like I'd been down for a long time, even though I hadn't.
That's why we do the 30-minute sessions at the traveling clinics, because we really do feel like it's enough to get the feel for it and some relief, as well. To enjoy that is our pleasure to give. So we love opening up our big old bag of tricks and helping out in any way that we can.
Right.
And we have people who come in and offer craniosacral as well as acupuncture, acupressure. Everything is at our traveling clinics, and we're doing one once a month now. Wow.
So if people want to follow you or find your clinics in whatever town you're going to be in, how do they do that?
There's 2 ways. The first way, well, actually, there's 3 ways. We have a website, www.twcel.net. We try to keep that updated with where our group called Aaru Frequency Temple is performing our restorative sound sessions where we go in and we use all kinds of instrumentation, including bowls on the belly and drums right next to your feet and voices using tone and tuning forks. Anything and everything, including chanting and channeling, are used during those restorative sound sessions to help balance your body and Seikam Reiki. So we have that available on the website. Then we have Instagram, and that's Ora, O-R-A, Aaru, A-A-R-U, T-W-C-E-L. Ora Aaru, T-W-C-E-L. And I put everything on that. But the Facebook page is the coolest because you can sign up for things that you want to get into.
Cool.
And Facebook, and at the end, /TWCEL. We keep it really simple.
Keep it simple, folks.
Yes.
So what is, one of the things I love to hear is stories of synchronicity or serendipity or a positive paranormal story. Something, just good stories in general. Magical stories are always a favorite. So I'm curious if you have something up your sleeve. You've been doing some pretty magical, metaphysical work for a long time. Got any good stories for us?
There's two quickies
that
I want to share.
Right.
The first one was recently. See, because I truly do believe that you can have what you want. And you can have it in the microcosm and the macrocosm. So one day I was sitting in a meeting. And to be honest, I was ready to be done. And so they were talking, and I thought in my head I saw a chocolate cake. And I saw it so strongly that I started to taste it.
Wow.
In my mouth. I could taste the chocolate. I could taste the sweetness. There was a cool moistness in my mouth.
Wow.
To it, if your mouth is watering, good. That's what I mean by visceral. Now you have an example. And so then I said it out loud. I want a slice of chocolate cake.
In the middle of the meeting?
In the middle of the meeting. And only half of the people heard me on my side of the table, on my end of the table, but they heard me and they kind of looked at me. And I think it was 7 to 10 minutes later, someone walked in with a whole chocolate cake.
Wow. Wow.
And I laughed.
You manifested that one.
I said, thank you so much. You heard me. And I went over and I got my piece of cake, and I made sure to take care of that lady who brought it in. Because we were definitely doing the intertwining thing there. We were entangled on some level.
Wow.
So my God was talking to her God.
Right.
That's what happened on that one.
The chocolate cake gods got involved on that.
Yes, and then the chocolate cake god said, "Yes,
let there be cake.
Let there be cake." So, and another one which is near and dear to my heart because it was finally connecting with the love of my life. See, I fell in love with this dude when I was in high school. And I never did anything about it. I kept it very quiet. Later on, he told me he had no idea that I was feeling what I was feeling. And I was like, yay, mission accomplished. And I went, ouch.
Yeah, what a stupid mission.
What a ridiculous mission I put myself on. But it's good to know that you can do this. So I went about my life, and we reconnected. So
you were like friends?
We were friends.
In high school. Okay.
Yep, all of that. And then I finally, long story short, finally moved back to Chicago after being in Los Angeles and New York. And I had been thinking about him and other friends. And one Sunday morning, I'll never forget it, I woke up with him on my mind. And Spirit said, call him. And I was like, how am I supposed to call him? I haven't talked to him in 20 years. I have no idea where he is or anything. And I heard white pages. I heard white pages. And I went, what? There's a bunch of white pages, and then I heard neighborhood white pages. I promise you.
Wow.
I heard neighborhood white pages.
Right.
I went downstairs right then, looked in the neighborhood white pages for my family's area, and there was his name.
Wow.
But it said senior on it. And I was like, oh my God, this must be his father.
Yeah.
I said, well, it's a start. So I call him up, and a gentleman answers the phone, and he sounds so much like how I remembered my husband sounded. I started talking to him. It turned out it was his son.
Oh, wow.
And all the years went through my head at that point of having not connected to him. But that was the beginning of the reconnection. Boom. Just following spirit.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Wow.
And doing what I was told. Get up, go get the white pages and find him.
So the moral of the story, folks, is get your act together, listen to spirit, and you can have the husband, wife, partner, and chocolate cake.
That's right. You can have your cake.
And eat it too.
And keep too.
And keep too. That's so good. So good.
Awesome.
Oh, you are so much fun, and I have so enjoyed connecting with you, and I know everyone listening has. You definitely have that magical spark about you, and
thank you.
I hope to see you doing more of this sort of stuff. Did I see something that you're talking about doing your own radio show or podcast or something?
I've been thinking about that.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing maybe something or a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I feel like that. I get such a strong intuitive hit that you would be just like rock star status. So I think you should.
Well, I want to watch you for a while.
Yeah, well, you're watching me.
Here.
You're watching me really close at the moment.
Yes. So, maybe I'll come back here and we'll talk about synchronistic moments and get everybody all happy.
Yes, I like that idea. I like it. I do have one last question for you, Ora, and the question is this. In 60 seconds or less, what is the meaning of life according to Ora Aaru?
The meaning of life. You are meant, I was meant, we all were meant to be happy. More than be happy, be joy. We were not meant to be sad, malevolent, crying, unhappy beings. We were meant to express joy and let that reverberate through every lifetime we get to have. That's what I believe what life is really about. It's about bliss and letting go of anything and everything that keeps you from feeling bliss 24/7.
Well, you are definitely reverberating bliss. I feel blissed and blessed to have spent this time with you. Ora, you are so amazing. Thank you so much.
Me too.
For coming by. And until next time, journey well, my friend.
Peace.
Well, everyone, that concludes this week's interview episode. Before we sign off, I wanted to let you all know that we have finally created the Game with the Universe on our website, where you can choose the first number that comes to your mind, and it'll pull up that episode number of the podcast. I've been saying this is a great way to co-create synchronicity and magic with your higher self for quite some time by doing this manually. But now, if you go to positivehead.com/YO Universe. There is a super fun and simple interface to play this game with your higher self. I firmly believe just by setting the intention to play in this way, it opens up the door for magic, and it's a synchronistic way to hone in on nuggets of wisdom out of the huge catalog of episodes that are specifically appropriate for you at this time in your journey to becoming the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. And it also makes for a super fun way to engage and invite friends, family, people on social media to check out the podcast as well. So be sure to check out positivehead.com/YOUNIVERSE and be sure to tell all your friends so they can play a game with the universe, which also helps the show to reach new people, which I greatly appreciate. And as a quick reminder, be sure to also check out positivehead.com/transformation if you're curious to learn more about Purium superfoods and why I take them every day. On this journey of becoming the next greatest and greatest version of ourselves that we have all embarked upon, I can't stress the importance of managing your physical vibration enough. And quite honestly, Purium has put together the simplest plan I've found to do so, and I'm sincerely excited to share it with all of you. Otherwise, as you continue on your fabulous journey in this 3D reality, be sure to remember this. As long as you ain't dead, you're already positive ahead. Journey well, everyone, and thank you for being.